Hey there, Stephanie Joy with all things Social Security and the law practice of Joy Disability. Here's a short little segment from our recent live stream Q&A that we have every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube channel, All Things Social Security. Enjoy, and if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and I will be sure to get to them. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now. Hello. Happy Wednesday. We live stream. You guys are well. Looks a little quiet. Everything's fine here. Typically busy week, of course. Got a lot of people doing a lot of different things. We've had a lot of workshops, if you will, to make sure everything is jiving with everyone's roles. So that's always fun. Michael LaPlaca says, I'm filing for an appeal now, have chronic injuries as well as some other medical issues. Well, fingers crossed for you, Michael. So I guess you got denied. JC says, out of curiosity, what type of cases are you least likely to accept for representation? I will accept no case unless I'm convinced. This is like a big overall thing. I've been doing this for a really long time, so I can kind of get a really good feel after my interview, so to speak, when we're talking for the first time on the phone. And if I don't see, based on what they tell me, if I could tell their own answers say they don't meet the laws that apply to them, which they might not know about. Some people think if they can't do their prior job, it means they have met the rules, and that's not the case. So then I tell them, and I don't accept their case. I will sometimes say, if you find that maybe you're underestimating how bad it is, because people do that. They haven't really thought about like all those little tests, those self-tests I was just telling you about. They haven't done that, so they don't really realize. I'll say, give it a test, do the 2-hour test for everything, and see if you can actually make it 2 hours without. And then maybe your limitations are far greater than you think. You just haven't really thought about those because they were not part of your other job. So those, when I know that they can't meet it, I'm not going to accept them. Obviously, I'm not going to lead them down the primrose path. Give them a snow job. Nor am I going to waste my time or my funds for staff, right? At the other areas, so like of all the categories, they have vocational profile stuff. That's going to include the age, the prior work, and transferable skills. Those looked at and how they interplay, that can define for me whether someone has a case right now. I just spoke to someone yesterday who hasn't been treating because didn't have insurance and just got Medicaid. And so had like a PCP appointment, first one, but has been out of work for, what was it? Might have been like 2 years. So maybe there's 3 years left of her DLI. And so I'm not representing her now, but she says she will indeed be starting a bunch of things I recommended, because I listened to her complaints and I know what she's talking about. I just know she doesn't have the goods now. And if she were to file right now, then she's wasting her entire initial review and probably her recon. And maybe by the time she goes to hearing, she has more treatment under her belt. But I personally I think that's wasteful. She has otherwise a good profile. And if we could just get these little gaps filled in, I would say file right away, because then she'd be one of the better chances of winning on initial or recon. So don't waste that opportunity if it just means getting your ducks in a row first if you haven't been trading. Young people are very hard. That is always waitlisted, JC, just always, because there's so many young people and so many practitioners don't accept them at all unless they are in an institution. So we take those. There's going to be a higher than normal denial rate. And I always say, but if it's SSI, there's no time frame deadline as long as they remain poor enough. If it's SSD, then they're under the gun with that time limitation. And then we talk about, ways you can extend your DLI. If you're not an invalid and you can earn a little bit of money in a very innocuous way that doesn't hurt you, your health, or your case, and that's something to consider doing. I speak to that a lot. You guys are used to me talking about that, because it really breaks my heart when someone who has worked or would have liked to work, but they became disabled very young, is never going to be on Social Security because they didn't have the work credits, and disability because it has to be recent work. So those are some examples. Remote DLIs, I take them, but they have a wait list too, because you can't take too many of them because they're going to have a higher incidence of loss than the regular case, because there's an aspect to every DLI case that an attorney can't help the client with. You can't change the past evidence that they're frozen with. They can't add to it. They can't follow our recommendation on how to build medical evidence because it has to be dated back then. So those are the kind of cases mostly, JC. Christina's in the house from California. Hi, Christina. Michael says, Paca, main concern is, should I feel defeated after the denial? No, it's very normal. It's the majority of people. Or feel as if I still have a chance for approval. It is definitely not the end of the line. Every single person who goes to hearing was denied twice, and then they won. So keep fighting the fight. Know your DLI, Michael, so you know when the curtains are drawn on your evidence. And like I was just talking about, you can get some part-time appropriate for disability work. You could still continue your claim. If you're not sure all the rules to that, I would definitely suggest you consult with somebody about it and have it very detailed understanding of which kind of job would be best under your circumstances in terms of not making it look like, well, then he could do this and he's not disabled. Remember, to be disabled, all you have to show is that we can't do full-time work and we are not currently working SGI. So if your medicals still show that you cannot do full-time work, and obviously they didn't find that to be the case, but you're going to continue to grow your evidence if you still have a DLI that's in the future. So you want to always, if possible, keep that DLI in the future while it's still in the future. And then if you need to stop working, and just make it a job that doesn't hurt you, but gives you enough money to get those credits that you need to keep your DLI pushed out in the future. And the best DLI is 5 years away. But, if we stop working, that's going to go away. So I'm trying to click the next one. Being stubborn. Trika says EMG now shows carpal tunnel syndrome and FCR was incomplete due to stage. Oh, FCR. Do you mean an FCE? Did you go to a doctor and ask them to figure out your functioning limitations? Was incomplete due to stage 4 osteoarthritis in my knee. Any suggestions on the type of questions ALJ may ask? Yes, he's going to be asking questions that are in your function report. Essentially, if there is something, go through your medical records as well. If there is something in your medical records that raises an eyebrow, such as you went on this vacation to Cancun or on a cruise or anything like that, they'll see that. I think they have little search people that find all that stuff, and they're going to ask you about that, because the general theory is, and I know this is a little unfair, but this is the way life is, that if you're spending limited funds on vacations while claiming that you're in constant pain or nearly constant pain, it might look suspicious that is she really in such constant pain? Because who would go and blow $5,000 on a vacation that they can't even enjoy? So you have to be really careful. It could be something else where it says you told your doctor, or his record says that you discussed this long bike ride you went with your best friend. It was like a 10-mile bike ride, and it was a beautiful day, and it was so great to get out of the house. You know what I mean? So those things are going to pop up. And sometimes, and this is why you have to find them, they are a cut and paste from 5 years ago. And this is pathetic because they do a lot of lazy cut and paste for history, and it looks like it's current. So you want to read every line of every medical page in your file. So if you don't have if you're at the ALJ stage, they can send you a CD, and which is ridiculous. We can't even read CDs, but so ask them to email it actually, or otherwise get it to you through your portal, your SSA portal. You want to go through every page, every single page. The medical records are all in the F section, so I would start there. Also look at your DDE, which will be in section A. That's your disability determination explanation on the 2 prior denials you had. And that'll show what they were looking at that time. Those are all good things to know. What didn't they have? Why did they find that I could do light work when I can't do light work, etc.? Mike Page is in the house. Hi, Mike. Hello. Hello, hello. All right, so we are an hour in, guys. I'm just keeping a little check on the time. I have long after we're over at like 4 o'clock, I got to take my son for a ultrasound. Thank you, Christina. She says, please share the live stream. That would be super. Oh, and to like, share, and comment, and subscribe. Gina is always so nice to me. She's very generous with her, I don't know, cheerleading. I appreciate it. Cube Dreams is in the house. Hi, Cube. So can the SSA track you or look you up on your social media? Anyone can look you up on your social media, for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you have it isn't there a way to only have it private to your friends and not even their friends, friends of friends? If you know how to do your settings, you could make that. They don't have like the power to get your password, but anything you put publicly, I believe, for sure. And if I were them, that's what I'd be doing. Seriously, I mean, they're trying to find out people who are disabled and those are not. So if you're showing off that you went downhill skiing 2 months ago and you're claiming bad back, bad legs, bad ankles, and you came to the Poconos and went to Shawnee or Camelback or what are the other ones around here? And went downhill, or went, what do they do now? Oh my gosh, what's the thing called, guys? It's like a skateboard. I can't remember the name. I've never done it. I think it looks insane, but I used to love to ski. But anyway, if you're showing pictures that you just did it like 2 months ago, or if you put up pictures from long ago and it looks like you just did it 2 months ago, which is stupidity. In my facts that I give my clients, it says, please get off social media. I have videos from a few years ago while I was sharing why you really want to step back from social media. Even the ability to debate with somebody back and forth is going to show a capacity to do certain mental things. So even if it's not true that you could do them in person, and it's only that you're a keyboard warrior, or what do they call it? Or a Monday quarterback. What's the other one, guys? Or a armchair. They call those things. You know, when you're always prejudging the things that you're not actually involved in, and you weren't there. Yeah, I would just step back and not risk it. Check, you know, you could check your social media. Just don't post anything because you're gonna forget. I mean, probably. Just the mere ability to be computer savvy. That tells a story. And it may or may not be a story relevant to your particular impairment and vocational profile, but it might be, particularly if you don't know how that all interacts. So I just say play it safe, guys. It's not forever. Is it after you're approved or before? I would assume they could do it in a CDR. Well, you know, surveillance happens at any time. If they get some sort of, they don't make it up, they don't have the resources, but if someone made a report about something about you and there's a tinge of credibility to it, could be totally wrong, but if there is a reason to believe it might be so, yeah, they could definitely delve deeper. And one of the less expensive ways to surveil someone or to know them a little bit more without driving out there and spending gas money in a company car is checking out their social media. So it's like the low-hanging fruit. Don't leave it for them. Agree or disagree? Dolphin says, I should go on to say, though, whole cube, that I would say before, while you're pending. I would say after. I would say just be careful, you know. You're going to have CDRs, too. So always after, there's going to be at least the CDR period. Now, what's the chance of someone making some sort of skanky report on you, like a disgruntled ex-friend? I don't know. Everyone's different. I don't think they're that common, but I mean, gosh, we've got people that are actually scamsters and nobody tells on them. So I'm not so sure. You know, if you have psychos in your life, then you might have to worry about it. But if not, probably not. But CDRs, that's always in your future. They tell you when the CDR is, though. So Dolphin RD says, I believe what helped my case is that I gave my doctor a list of my impairments and the cause. I thought the doctor was supposed to diagnose you, not the other way around. Example, lifting a gallon of milk causes pain in my back and pelvic area. Document every appointment. I see what you're saying. That's not, you're not telling your impairments, you're telling him the symptoms. You know, when I lift, symptom is I get pain in my back. And that's good. That's good. I think that's what people should be talking to their doctors about. And then there's a bigger chance that it's going to get in the medical record because they can't make it up out of their own head and they don't care to. They're very busy. Too busy, actually. ENS, sorry for the typos. Are you kidding me? That is no problem. I love typos. Rain Gal says, hoping the fatigue and brain fog come out in the mental CE. Will you make sure you tell him? You make sure you tell him in no uncertain way. I mean, sometimes you can give, if you can think of good examples too, Rain Gal, like what happens when the brain fog comes in, like, you know, with I don't know, like what it interferes in, like you forget appointments or, you know, forget what day it is when the fatigue hits in, you know. Rangal is almost 55. All right. Yeah, you got the tougher case, my dear. Probably sedentary. Well, marketing can be active too, but skilled marketing, I'm guessing sedentary office type work. And skilled. So you even with 55, you have to prove that that's where the brain fog is really important, right? You need to prove that those skills that you had in those last 5 years doing that high skilled work, that they are not transferable to a different job you could physically do, like a sedentary job, a different sedentary job. So hopefully you're getting mental health therapy for that brain fog. Hopefully you're seeing maybe a specialist for that. That chronic fatigue, was that you I was talking to about that, Rangel? Yeah, he's sleeping. Tasha is sleeping. Oh, you're welcome, Rangel. She says great suggestions. Huge thanks. My pleasure. 7. Were you born in 67, Sybil? Hi, everyone. Hello back at you. I don't think we've met. I was born in 67, so that's what I was wondering. And if my kids saw that, all right, how many of you guys know that whole thing about 6'7", 6'7"? Drives me insane. So I always say, I was born at 6'7", kids. Those are the teenagers, you know. They jump on the weirdest things and they go viral. It's crazy. All right, so Sybil's saying, currently at step 3, adjudicator assigned. Third person activities of daily living sent in. I assume you also sent in your own activities of daily living. That would be called the function report. And if you had more than one job in the last 5 years, you probably sent in a work history report. Authorization for telehealth. Sent it back. Very good. You're on your way. Fingers crossed for you, Sybil. She goes on to say, why is the Social Security uploaded information not accessible for the DHS? DHS? You mean your state? You got to clarify what you mean by that. If you upload medical records to SSA.gov, it is going to go to, if DHS is what you mean by the DDS, which is another, every state has a different, it's like disability determination services. They can see it. That's how you can upload your medical records instead of faxing them, I believe. You do it through your SSA.gov site. Does that make sense? That's just something they got pretty recently too, as they keep improving the technologies that we can use. So I'm not sure what you're talking about, Civil. You can clarify that. Let's see. Pam D says, hi, new here, and hi, nice to meet you. All right. Thank you, Independence. I hope you have a great evening also. All right. Yeah, leave your question on the comments. That's perfect. Thank you all, KU. Thank you to you too. Pam D, you as well. Nice to meet you. And I will see you guys next week. Hopefully, bring your friends and share, like, and what do they say? Comment. All right. Bye, guys.